Hey, welcome back, everybody. It's time to tee it up with Tom and John. Join our hosts, Tom Johnson and John Stevens, as they tee it up with the top players here in Orange County, discussing the issues of the day with the people driving these decisions, keeping our county on course. Of course. Hey, John, who'd you bring today?
Thank you, Paul. Oh, we've got such a great guest today, Debora Wondercheck, who's the CEO of the Arts and Learning Conservatory in the great city of Costa Mesa. She's a member of our Arts Commission. She was the mayor's nominee, which makes it even more impressive, to the Arts Commission.
Who was the mayor at the time?
The John Stevens. The Tom and John, tee it up with Tom and John. Yes. And so I met Debora when in absentia. She was on her 25th wedding anniversary trip, and I gave her the Woman of the Year award for Cotty Petrie Norris's district, and then we connected later at Plums, plug for Plums, and the rest is history. And so she's got a beautiful family. Did I say she's an expert or a virtuoso cellist? Unbelievable person. So we're
with a name like Debora Wondercheck, I would think maybe an oboe, but
no, not an oboe.
Not an oboe. Okay. And I only say that because everybody out there is probably wondering, like, how do you go from cello to oboe? Well, we have John likes to do these little pre-meetings with our guests and everything. We had a pre-meeting yesterday, and John made that mistake, and I think Debora and I were chuckling, and I was still chuckling about it. So,
well, Debora is so talented that I'm sure she can play the oboe and every other instrument, but she focuses on the cello. So, okay, so it's...
Good morning, Debora.
Good morning. Hey, it's Tee It Up, Tom, and it's PGA weekend. You got any golf plans this weekend, or any stories to tell?
A lot of people say I hit the ball like the guy that's leading... no, I guess he's in second place in the PGA DeChambeau, but not quite as long. I can't even hit it as far as he hits an 8-iron. But how's your game these days, John?
Well, it's good. Now, Bryson's lost 40 pounds. My game would be better if I lost 40 or 80 pounds. But
the only way I could do that is if I cut off one of my legs.
I got to tell you about my Mother's Day. We were talking earlier about marriage, and I've been married for 37 years. I'm married to this
Congratulations.
great woman who I'll say that one of the best things about Amy is she's a sport. So like tonight we're going to the Sparks game opening and whatever. So I said to her, what do you want to do on Mother's Day? And she says, I want to play a round of golf. So we played a round of golf over at Mesa Linda, and I said, oh, it's perfect. I'll play the back nine with my friends, and then we'll play 18 holes together. A fresh air round, no cigars, no dirty jokes. And so I played 27 holes on Mother's Day.
Nice.
How many guys can say that they've got a wife that lets them play 27 holes on Mother's Day?
That's a keeper. Are you just realizing that after 37 years, or?
No, we're going to keep her at least another 37.
Okay, good. I love Amy. She's great. So yeah. I've had the great fortune of playing 18 holes of golf with her also. Yeah. The only disappointing thing about that, I think you were along.
Yeah, I know. Well, she's a stickler, though. She makes you putt out.
I know.
I don't like that. I like my gimmies.
I know. And then every time, here's the funniest part, then we're going to get to Debora, but all of a sudden John will be out there and somebody will join us or whatever, and John's always that cordial guy that goes up to people and tries to make them feel comfortable and everything, and he'll start in and he'll say like, hi, I'm John Stevens. I'm the mayor and all of a sudden, as soon as the first part of mayor comes out, his wife just rolls her eyes like, oh my gosh, we're not going down that path.
That was the other part of the bargain is no cigars, no dirty jokes, and the twosome we played with, I never mentioned that I was the mayor. That was my Mother's Day gift for her.
I love her. She's got good. So,
Debora, are you still on?
I'm still here.
Oh my goodness. So okay, so I gave you the intro. Did I miss anything?
No.
Okay, that's good. So let's talk about your background first. I mean, you come from a terrifically musical family, and you'd really come to the music, if you want to call it industry or calling, naturally. Talk about your family.
Okay, so I'm the youngest of 7 children, and I have an older sister, 5 boys in between, and then there's me. And when it comes to how we got involved in the arts, my mom grew up in an era, well, she was like a teenager during the 50s, and very segregated. She grew up in Illinois, Chicago area, and she just wasn't exposed to the arts as a child. So she vowed that upon getting married, having kids, that she would have her children be involved in the arts and be dedicated to giving back to the community through music. So she, asked the Lord, give me some kids, give me lots of them, and I'll dedicate them back to you. Just give them a musical talent, please. And so she got her wish. She had 7 of us, and we were involved with playing stringed instruments. That's something she always wanted to do. What was really funny, though, because we all played violin, viola, cello. We have bass in our family. My sister's a classically trained vocalist. We took private lessons. We played music in the schools because back then, orchestra and band and those types of classes were from elementary all the way up, and it was just a natural progression. We were involved in all of the string playing, traveling, orchestra, took the private lessons. And what ended up happening, again, we're in Chicago, so one of the private instructors that worked with my siblings talked to my mom, and this gentleman played in the Chicago Symphony. And he's like, you know what, Mrs. King, because that's my mom's, my maiden name, he said to her, if your kids really stick this out and they stay focused, there should be scholarship monies available for them to go to college. Well, as soon as my sweet, loving mom heard about college scholarships, she literally turned into a drill instructor.
Wow.
And had us practicing day and night. Our home kind of sounded like a music conservatory. Everyone's practicing in different rooms. But what ended up happening is 5 of the 7 of us went to universities across the nation on scholarship, and were able to, our schooling was covered.
Can I just tell you something, Deborah? Hearing that story reminds me that we need more mothers like your mother today.
Yeah.
And really that really buckle down and get their kids, help their kids get pointed in the right direction. And it goes across the board for kids. But gosh, congratulations to your mother.
Well, and I talked about Mother's Day, and Deborah also has a spectacular family, and I'm friends on Facebook, so I follow everything that they're doing. She's got 3 beautiful children, and Cara, her youngest, has come into City Hall on many occasions and has performed the national anthem, and she sings so beautifully. And we have videotaped that, and sometimes we'll play Cara if we don't have somebody. She just she sings like an absolute angel, and I know your son and your daughter are great athletes, and so happy belated Mother's Day to you. I know you've continued the tradition, and you have a beautiful family.
So let me ask you a question on that front, Deborah. Is when you hear your daughter sing, and you hear somebody like John say, "Oh, she's great," what does it make you feel like? I mean, I think we're all parents, and now I'm a grandparent, and unfortunately, my kids and my grandchildren don't have any talent, so I have to observe it in other people. But what's it like the first time all of a sudden you hear your daughter perform something like the national anthem? You don't do that unless you're good. What did that do to you as far as the chills down your spine? What do you feel?
It really does. I feel so proud of what she's able to accomplish, because that's her. That's not me at all. That's all her beautiful raw talent put out there on a stage for the world to listen to. And I get so proud. And with having, a real strong background with music, and I'm conducting and doing all these great concerts and things of that sort, it's so different when it's your child on that stage. It almost brings a tear to your eye.
Yeah.
So, just a real sense of pride, and just honored that she's sticking with the arts and so focused on it, and then does a great job. So,
what would your advice be if there's a mother or father out there that has children, and they see this talent, that hasn't been fully developed, but they kind of feel there's something special there. And when I said my grandchildren a minute ago, I look at my granddaughter sometimes. She's 6 years old, and she's so good at gymnastics and kind of this slow dance and this movement and stuff like that. And I go to her gymnastic classes, and I think, like, gosh, she is really, really good. And I keep telling her mother, we gotta kind of keep focused on this. What do you tell a parent or a grandparent of young children like this that have a talent? Say my kid's musically inclined, or say my kid can sing. What do they do? I mean, some people I think don't know what the next step is.
Right, and that was the case with my mom. She didn't play a stringed instrument, so but she had us involved with that. I would say seek out a place that you can find musically, artistically, that can help develop that talent. So, for instance, we just did the production here at Arts and Learning Conservatory of Little Mermaid, and there was a young lady who I think, her situation was she was getting real stressed out with the production, so the director told her, come back and sit with me in the booth, the tech booth. This child had a natural knack for understanding sound cues, like what to push when. She was calm, and we had to talk to her parent and say, look, you might want to consider having your daughter focus more on tech and understanding the background of theater, because she was calm, and there's a certain demeanor that it takes to run lighting, sound, and push these cues without freaking out. I would freak out if I sat in a tech booth and had to push a cue and I missed it, and she was so calm, and she had never been in that situation before, but we as a staff noticed this is something this child needs to pursue. So for parents that see something special in their kids, try to seek out where they can develop that gift or that talent. And even if they don't know it's a gift yet, like you stated, it's something that you notice. Hey, they're tumbling. Well, let's find a gymnastics school. If they're singing constantly and they won't stop, find a music school like Arts and Learning or whatever. Just get them involved in something, because the younger they do it, the more naturally or organically they'll just gravitate and grow into what it is that gift is inside of them. So I would seek it out now. I wouldn't wait. Just get going with that.
So Debora, through the Arts and Learning Conservatory, which is, as I mentioned before, is in the great city of Costa Mesa, you've brought back arts education to the public school. And so talk to the listeners about how you've done that and what the program is.
Okay, so what we did, again, with all of the background I've had in music, I was teaching for 10 years within the Irvine School District as a master teacher, honor orchestra conductor, blah, 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 blah. And it was at that time that I kept seeing that programs were being cut from music locally, districts such as like Santa Ana, certain parts of Huntington Beach, places like that. And I'm like, wow, we're just seeing the arts just disappear. Why? This isn't right. So I decided, let me just start a summer camp, high quality performing arts summer camp. It was a musical theater camp with live orchestra, or kids who played instruments come play, and we'll put some kids on stage and they'll sing and act. And we started with that camp back in 2004. 21 kids came, and it was a huge success. We did The Sound of Music, excerpts of it. Honestly, you guys, it was excerpted. We had Maria and her 6 kids on stage, or maybe she has 7 kids. It was just Maria and her kids on stage. That was it. We had a student orchestra with nuns who played, actually my cellists who were wearing all black would play their instruments and then double as a nun. They'd jump up on stage, be a nun, come back, play in the pit, go back up, be part of the party scene, come back, play in the pit. So we doubled all of our musicians as actors just to fill up the stage. It was a huge success, and the very next summer that we did the same camp, we had 145 kids come out for it. And same thing, we had orchestra, we had the actors, singers, dancers. And from that experience, the second summer, that's when parents began to tell me, hey, they've removed music from our schools. Can you bring your musical theater program into our school? Because we need some kind of arts. So we started with 3 schools in Costa Mesa, and that kept expanding and expanding to the point where by really right before the pandemic, by 2019, we were in about 25 schools, bringing not just musical theater, but also, oh my goodness, musical theater, orchestra classes, band classes, drumming, and voice is what we were bringing to these schools. The pandemic set us back a bit, as it set everyone back. We were down to maybe like 10 schools that we were offering the programs to. And then recently, we amped up all of a sudden more classes to the point where starting in September of this past year, we were in 55 schools.
Wow. That's great.
That's
yeah,
great.
It expanded. So we're just, the whole point of us doing what we're doing was to make the arts accessible and equitable, and I'm just amazed as to how much it's grown, but even more so, the need that I thought was there was 5 times greater, and it's kind of pulled on my calling to make sure it keeps happening in the lives of kids. So it's been an amazing journey.
Oh, Paul, you had something to say?
I'm listening to this, and I'm wondering why schools are cutting back music and arts program. When I was a kid, way back when, I participated in choir and plays and musicals, and I just got such a kick out of it. I also studied radio. We had one of the first radio programs back in the 70s. I don't know why schools think this is just something that they can throw away. Why is it? They don't see the value in it, and I guess what is the value of arts and learning?
Yeah, the value hasn't been seen. I mean, typically, you can look at facts. In California alone, 4 and 5 public schools have either no arts music teacher, or they only have a part-time teacher. But that's 4 and 5 schools. And what took precedence, especially with really the last 15 years, were testing, test scores. Many schools felt like we need to focus more on, reading, writing, arithmetic, English, math, which is fine, but they felt like there wasn't enough time during the school day to add in music. But we know that the benefit of music is it develops deep critical thinking skills, language development. I mean, it's been proven that kids who take music or theater or the arts in general have higher testing in reading and math. They have collaboration, teamwork, entrepreneurial skills. You think outside of the box. I mean, look at you guys with what you do here in the air. That's a lot of improv. You got to think quickly. You cannot just sit and teach somebody that with a book. You've got to physically do it. And those benefits were lost with a lot of the cuts that these districts have done in the past, but it's coming back around now where districts are, with the funding, I guess, that's coming from the state now for the arts, it's now being seen, but we've now got to go and try to repair the damage for the last 20, 30 years.
Well, and let me ask you about another aspect of it too, Deborah, is mental health. Okay, so I've always thought that, whenever I'm down, I like to, I can't be down if I'm singing. Now everybody around me is depressed when I'm singing, but I'm not depressed. And I remember when I was in junior high school and I was in the Glee Club, and I was like, you got to be kidding me. I can sing for all year, every day for a period, and it was. It was very fun, and I think it was good for centering me. And like I say, even to this day, if I'm down, I turn on the radio and sing with the radio. How does is there a connection between art, music, and mental health? Is there any scholarship, or is it just my intuitive conclusion here that there is a connection?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's a social, emotional thing. I mean, the arts gets to the heart of people quicker than trying to look at what happened with the pandemic. We had kids who were set back by the whole social aspect. They were missing that whole piece due to the pandemic. And we were called upon, I'll give you an example, called upon by a Boys and Girls Club who said, look, our kids are art starved. Can you do something online or something with the Boys and Girls Club kids that are coming into our club? They were telling us that the kids who would ignore crayons and markers and things of that sort during the pandemic, and these were kids of the workers that were on the ground helping us during that time, these kids would come into the club and go straight to the crayons. They'd go straight to the art supplies and start drawing, and they would totally ignore that stuff in the past. The arts brings healing, you know, and it is an emotional and a social thing that the arts does with bringing people together, and then not to mention what it does mentally speaking with that whole sense of belongingness and just being a part of something bigger than yourself. So, and that collaboration and things of that sort. So it's huge with mental health and bringing about healing into the lives of everyone, youth and adults alike.
You know, when I was a kid, Deborah, I was in a family of 5, and I think I had really great parents, and we had a piano in the house, and I remember my brother was a great athlete, and my parents realized I didn't really have a lot of abilities, but they signed me up for piano lessons. Mm-hmm. And so I started taking piano lessons. And I took piano lessons because my parents wanted me to, not because I woke up one day and said, hey, I want to take piano lessons. And I remember at the time feeling like, and I want to be careful the way I say this because I'm going to be on the opposite side of this, but I didn't want to be a geek. And so, and I know, you know, I've always been a person, especially in my younger days, I don't know why, but I always worried about what other people thought, you know, and so I quit Boy Scouts early because, oh gosh, you know, forbid I have to wear my Boy Scout uniform to high school. And yet, as I've gotten later in life now, I look back and I think like, gosh, when my nephew called me and wanted me to do his Eagle Scout induction, when I go and I see my nieces and nephews and things like that, and they play the piano so beautifully and things like that, I want to kick myself. Is that still a problem today? And if it is, how do they get by it?
It is still a problem today, but I don't know. It's the kids these days are a little more different than we were. What used to be considered nerdy isn't quite the same, but it's still an issue. It's still a little bit of an issue. What really needs to happen, and parents, if you're listening, it's up to you to encourage your kids and put them in an environment and create these opportunities for them to normalize the arts. I look at my son, he's now 20, but he went to Mater Dei High School, 6'4", played basketball, and he was in the string orchestra playing cello.
Right.
And he was like, Mom, I want to play this. The kids are nerds. And I'm like, wait a minute, are you calling your mom a nerd? Because Mom played in the orchestra. No, you're not a nerd. It's just the kids. And I'm like, I don't care what you think about the kids, but you're going to play in that orchestra, and you're going to make friends with those kids, and you're going to have a great time. So I didn't let him get out of it. He stayed in orchestra all the way until he graduated as a senior, the 6'4", big old basketball playing kid. And he got over it. He stayed with it, and he hangs out with these kids now because he gave them a chance, and they gave him a chance.
That's great program, too.
Yeah.
And good for him and good for you.
Yeah.
Because I don't think kids, you're right, kids can't see it at that point. So, but it takes somebody like, your mother, or and what you learned from your mother and said, no, we're not going to let you escape this. We're gonna keep you in it. Okay,
so our time's running out, but I want to make sure we cover 2 points. The last one especially is, so you're on the Arts Commission. So I want you to talk about what the commission's doing, and then I also want to make sure you have an opportunity to tell the listeners about the Gospel Voices that's coming up in June.
Okay. As far as the Arts Commission, I'm honored to be sitting on the Arts Commission for the City of Costa Mesa. And what we are doing is, right now we're creating scholarships for artists in the community to apply for monies to continue their artwork and make an impact within the City of Costa Mesa. So our board right now is really approving funding for next year, and we're upping the amount, and we need more of you to apply for these monies to be able to make an impact in our city, whether it's through an arts organization that you're currently working with where you're impacting children, maybe you're doing something that's impacting more of our older citizens, senior center, whatever it is. Just check out the Arts Commission, come through the City of Costa Mesa, and get involved in knowing what is available financially so that you as an artist, if you're out there, can make a difference and an impact in the city. We just got started not too long ago. It's just been a few months of us doing this. I think we started in November. And we're just excited about making more arts opportunities available to children, youth, young adults, and adults here in the city. So that's what I have to say for now. Sorry, my throat's getting a little sore.
No, it's all right.
Regarding that, but we're excited that we even have an Arts Commission, and we can really be seen as the city of the arts.
And this is our first Arts Commission, and you were, as I said, the mayor's nominee. We now have 7 arts commissioners, and the idea is through the funding that we provide, through the also including our cannabis tax, that we're gonna execute that arts master plan, and really make it the city of the arts in many ways. So anyway, Gospel Voices is coming up in June. I want to make sure everybody knows about that.
Yeah, so Gospel Voices, what that is, I created this program. It's a huge concert, by the way, everyone, huge. It takes place on the campus of Chapman University at the Musco Center of the Arts. It's called Gospel Voices of OC. And what I had done is I created this program really in the midst of all the turmoil happening in our nation, the hate crimes that were going on in 2020, even till today. And I just stated, enough's enough. There needs to be a celebration that takes place artistically that celebrates the differences that we have through the arts here in our community. So with Juneteenth being now a national holiday, and for many people not even knowing what Juneteenth was, I decided to put this program called Gospel Voices of OC on the weekend or around Juneteenth, and celebrating African American artistic works. We're also celebrating and highlighting the influence of gospel music as a source of historical impact within the African American community, and then also the impact in general that African Americans have made musically, through dance, through art. And this is a celebration. We're saying, everyone come together, let's have a wonderful time. Let's understand the history, but in a way that's celebratory. So if you come to this, you're going to end up seeing Black Brown String Orchestra, gospel choir. If you're someone that's never seen a live gospel choir, you need to come and experience this.
Yeah.
Experience it. So gospel choir, there's going to be spoken word, there's going to be dance. Last year we had tap dance, we had African dance. I'm not going to share all the details. It's going to be an experience you will not want to miss, and you are going to feel a part of something so special in this county that really has never been done before. Everyone that's helping me with this project are African American leaders in dance, in voice, in theatrical works. The gentleman who is my producer and production manager has done the Academy Awards. We've got Stevie Wonder's musicians, a couple of them coming to be a part of this. This is top-notch, 100% quality. And by the time you're done, if you guys aren't standing on your feet, stomping your feet, clapping your hands and singing along, something's really wrong with you. It's gonna feel like a gospel Sunday brunch is what you're gonna walk away with.
It's unbelievable. So I went last year, Tom, and I can't remember what was happening with me. I was like, working on some case or something, and I was really kind of distracted and agitated. And I sat there and just let this entertainment pour over me. And when I left there, I was completely reinvigorated. I had a bounce in my step. I had love in my heart, and it will really transform you if you go. So how do you get tickets?
You get tickets two ways. You could either go to muscocenter.org online.
MUSCO.
Yes, thank you. Or you can go to artsandlearning.org. Artsandlearning.org with an S, arts. And we have tickets, a link available on our site, but Musco, you can get straight to your seats as well. And if you're interested in being a sponsor, maybe your corporation or your business is really focusing on DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion, and you want to help by bringing your staff to come be a part of this or even volunteer, please go to the Arts and Learning website, artsandlearning.org. We would love to have you come and be a part of this and help be a volunteer or what have you. But this is a multi-generational concert. Kids as young as 5 or 3 will sit through the whole thing. We had people as old as, I wouldn't say old, as mature as like 95 sitting in the audience.
Good, my age group, okay.
Your age. And they all got something from it. So please join us. And if you can't come, share it with someone else. But Gospel Voices of OC, it's going to be the place to be.
Hey, Deborah, I want to thank you for joining us. You've been so enlightening on this. I'm going to talk to John about this afterwards, and I'm going to commit to John that if he will take me, as long as he brings Amy, I will join him that day, and because it sounds so good.
It's great. It's great.
So
we made it through the show without me singing too. I got to say, I was tempted to sing Edelweiss when you were talking about.
John is going to play the oboe. He's promised us afterwards in the studio. So,
thank you, Deborah.
Nice talking to you, Deborah. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. You guys have a great rest of your day.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Bye.
Okay, that takes us out. Anything to say? Any final words? Well, there we go.
Yeah. Bye, Deborah.
You know how she was talking about people that are really talented on running the board.
Not me. And I was touting myself, saying, "Look at how good I am at this."
We need to get that little girl.
Yes. Anyway, I think are you putting the tee in the ground this weekend?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I'm playing the back nine.
Good for you. Okay. Thanks so much. Always good to be here.
Tomorrow's Love Costa Mesa Day. If anybody hears this, Love Costa Mesa at the city, lovecostamesa.org if you want to sign up. 1,000 volunteers are going to be doing about 100 projects, and it starts at 8 a.m. tomorrow, and there's breakfast, and then people work, and then they come back for lunch.
Where do they meet?
At City Hall.
Good for you.
77 Fair Drive.
Good for you. Sounds great. Have a great weekend.
All right, thanks, everybody.
Well, there you have it. Come back as we tee it up again with our hosts, Tom and John, right here in Orange County's only community radio station, OC Talk Radio, streaming live from our studios here at the University of California, Irvine's Beale Applied Innovation Studio.